I learned early how to be absent without leaving. In our family, exclusion didn't arrive with slammed doors or raised voices. It showed up as logistics. A cousin's engagement party scheduled, so last minute. A rehearsal dinner moved to a smaller room. A message that began with "We didn't think you'd want to come anyway." I perfected the nod, the shrug, the way you laugh so the moment doesn't harden around you. By the time my sister said it out loud, it didn't even feel new. We were in the kitchen after Sunday dinner, plates stacked, the smell of soap and onions still hanging in the air. Someone had mentioned an upcoming wedding, another cousin, another venue, and my sister smiled at me in that way that always carried a punchline. "You're just not wedding material," she said, laughing, like it was an observation about weather. "You hate crowds. You'd be miserable." The room didn't stop. No one corrected her. My mother adjusted a dish towel. My father cleared his throat. I felt something in me go very still, the way water does right before it freezes. I said nothing. Silence had always been safer than objection. Silence was how you stayed invited to holidays, even when you weren't invited to anything else. When I got engaged 8 months later, I didn't announce it at dinner. I told friends first, then coworkers. Then, days later, my parents on the phone, keeping my voice neutral, as if I were reporting a schedule change. There was a pause. Congratulations followed. Questions came carefully, like stepping stones. Dates, vague suggestions. No excitement that needed managing. No jokes. I hung up and sat on my couch longer than necessary, letting the quiet settle. The first real decision I made was the venue. I toured places alone, not because I wanted secrecy, but because I wanted to hear my own reactions without commentary. One place had tall windows and an old courtyard that smelled faintly of citrus. It wasn't extravagant. It felt grown. It felt like a space that wouldn't ask me to explain myself. I booked it. When it came time to make the guest list, I didn't frame it as punishment. I framed it as math. Who had shown up? Who had made room? Who had repeatedly demonstrated that my presence was optional? I added names slowly. I left others off just as slowly, sitting with the discomfort instead of rushing to justify it. I told myself that boundaries didn't require footnotes. The invitations went out in a pale envelope, understated. No dramatic flourish. No cover letter explaining my emotional journey. For a week, nothing happened. Then the text started. At first, they were confused. Did something get lost in the mail? Then offended. This is hurtful. Then indignant. After everything we've done for you. I read them all. I didn't respond. That was new. Usually I rushed to smooth, to reassure, to prove I wasn't trying to hurt anyone. This time, I let the messages stack up like unread mail, each one saying more about the sender than about me. My sister called. I didn't pick up. 2 weeks before the wedding, my mother called, her voice tight but controlled. She said the family was concerned. She said this was out of character. She said people were talking. I listened. When she finished, I said, "The guest list is final." It was the first complete sentence I'd said on the subject. There was a long silence. Then a quiet, wounded, "Okay." The wedding day arrived without drama until it didn't. The ceremony itself passed in a blur of light and vows and a steadiness in my chest I hadn't expected. For a few hours, I forgot about absence. I forgot about anticipation. I was just present. The turning point came at the reception. I was in a side room adjusting my dress when the coordinator knocked gently and asked to speak with me. Her tone was calm in that professional way that carries weight. "There are a few people at the entrance who aren't on the list," she said. "They're insisting there's been a mistake." I felt the old instinct rise, to rush, to explain, to fix. It surprised me how quickly it passed. "What's your policy?" I asked. She didn't hesitate. "We follow the confirmed guest list. Security is already there." From down the hall I could hear raised voices. Not shouting, exactly. Urgency. Familiar patterns of insistence. I nodded. "Thank you." I didn't go to the entrance. I didn't need to. Later, someone told me my sister had argued with security her laughter gone, her voice sharp with disbelief. That my mother had tried to reason, to explain that families are complicated, that the coordinator had repeated, calmly, that the list was final. Procedure 1. By the time the cake was cut, my phone was vibrating in my bag, messages arriving faster than I could read them. Rage, hurt, disbelief. I didn't look. I didn't want to imprint those words on a day I was trying to keep clean. Nothing exploded. No one stormed the floor. The music played. People danced. The absence became a fact instead of a threat. In the weeks that followed, things didn't resolve neatly. Some relatives stopped calling. Some sent careful notes that tried to straddle apology and accusation. My parents became quieter, more formal, as if we were learning a new language with each other. I missed them. That was the part no one warned me about. Boundaries didn't erase longing, they just clarified its shape. But something else changed too. I stopped scanning rooms for approval. I stopped rehearsing explanations. When holidays came around, I noticed which invitations arrived clearly and which didn't, and I responded accordingly, without drama, without chase. I wasn't celebrated for it. There was no moment where the family admitted fault or recognized the pattern. Power didn't swing back with a bang. It settled, quietly, into a new configuration. I learned that dignity doesn't always feel victorious. Sometimes it feels lonely. Sometimes it feels like sitting with unanswered texts and choosing not to answer anyway. But it also feels like standing in a courtyard that smells faintly of citrus, looking at a life you chose deliberately, and realizing that for the first time, your presence isn't negotiable.